Hello there, it's Graham here, Black 73 Cat. Hope you're all well, guys, and welcome back. So today I am going to do a bench tour of sorts. I say of sorts because I don't really have a bench at the minute. I've got a kitchen table with a load of stuff piled up onto it and sort of roughly organised. But a few of the other guys on ISM have been doing bench tours, and they do seem to be fairly popular on YouTube. But more than anything else, I thought it would be a good record for myself to have, because this is how it all started for me. This is where I started modelling. And in a few weeks' time, when I get my new man cave, this is all going to disappear, and it's all going to sort of hopefully be in a lot more suitable environment and a lot better organised. So I thought I'd just kind of whip the camera off the tripod and have a bit of a wander around and kind of show you what I'm working with at the minute, what tools I'm using, how I've got my stuff organised. I use organised in a very loose sense. I suppose how I'm managing stuff is probably a better way of describing it. And just kind of show you around, but realistically it's more of like recording a memory for me, so I can sort of look back in, hopefully, in sort of 6 months' time when my cave's all built and fitted out and everything's in its right place and everything's all sorted and hunky-dory and swanky and posh, and I can look back and go, blimey, did I really used to work on that kitchen table in the corner of my guest room. So yeah, if you just give me a second, I'll whip the camera off the tripod. I'll try and keep it brief. You'll have to excuse my dodgy camera work. I'm hopeless at hand holding a camera. I tend to forget to look at the monitor, and I'll look at what I'm pointing at. So I'll try really hard to, to make it watchable, and I'll try not to waffle too much. That might be the stumbling block. 2 seconds, I'll whip the camera off, and I'll bring you back in a tick. So here we go. I guess the first thing I should talk about would be my new chair, because I really like it. Gaming chairs seem to be very popular with a lot of the guys that I've spoken to. Gaming chairs can be very, very expensive. This one wasn't all that expensive. It was less than £100 in the UK. It's a GT Force Blaze, I think it's called. You can get them on Amazon and on eBay. I think there's only one seller in the UK. Less than £100, really nice, very comfortable to sit in, easy to assemble. Does the job. It does the job for me, and hopefully that'll last me a while. And it looks quite swanky too, with its red and black garb. So there you go, that's my chair. It does recline and all the rest of the malarkey. I'll step around here so I can... Right, let's move the chair out of the way for a minute. Now I will, like I say, I will try and look in the viewfinder. Right, okay, so that's the layout. That's how I'm working at the minute. That is my bench in its entirety. So as you can see, it's quite small, quite cramped. It is just a kitchen table. It was in the garage. Been there for years. I should have taken it to the tip years ago. I kept forgetting to do it on a Sunday, and then I just kind of dragged it out, repurposed. I cleaned it and stuck it in the corner of this room. So I've got it fairly well sorted. Everything's in a place at the minute, but it's not ideal. Anyway, let's start from the bottom and we'll work up. So first off is my compressor down here, which is your bog standard AS186 compressor that many people start out with as a beginner. I'll pick this up, as I'll mention on quite a few things. I bought a job lot of stuff from a friend of mine who was giving up modelling, and this was part of the lot. And it's working fine. I can't fault it. It does a good job. It manages my airbrushes quite well. So yeah, I'll carry on using that until it gives up the ghost. Assorted boxes and stuff under there, hairdryer in case I ever need it. Little microfiber towel just in case of any spillages, and some odd chemicals, screen wash, that kind of thing. I started using screen wash as a brush cleaner when I first started doing this. It doesn't work as a brush cleaner, it's rubbish. So yeah, just a few assorted bottles of stuff under there. And then up to the business end, let's have a look. So my airbrushes. I started out with an Iwata Neo, which again came as part of a job lot. Very good airbrush, very capable, but I just wanted something a bit more precise for doing sort of finer detail stuff. So I decided I was going to splash out a little bit. So you can see I've got 2 airbrushes here, and they're sort of clamped onto the table with one of these cheap clamps and a bit of white tack down there. So the main airbrush is this Mr. Hobby Procon Boy Platinum with a 0.2 needle. It's the PS270. I love this. It's really, really good. Very precise, very easy to use, very comfortable. Does have a Mac valve on it, which I haven't worked out how to use yet. But yeah, it's a big upgrade from the Neo that I was using. It's a really nice bit of kit. Yeah, I love it. I'm really pleased. It was a very, very good purchase, that. Really pleased with it. And then I use that for painting, and then for priming and gloss and matte coats, etc. I use this, which is just a generic cheap Chinese airbrush that you get off eBay for not a lot of pennies. It works. 0.4 needle, I think it is, on this one. Handles all my primers really well, handles gloss and matte coats really well. Needs a bit of care, needs to be cleaned out fairly regularly, but it does the job, and the pair of them work really well together. And then behind that I've got my airbrush cleaning station, and then a jam jar or pasta sauce jar or something, which I use for when I've back flushed my airbrush to clean it, and I tip that in there rather than trying to spray it through the nozzle. So that's just that. And then behind there I've got an IKEA coffee frother, which I'm using as a paint stirrer. Occasionally it works. I've had to chop the end off. I'll pick it up. I've had to... Oh, where's that? Yeah, there you go. I've had to chop the end off because anything remotely left on the end just splattered paint everywhere. There was an interesting thing in a live hangout one night where I tried to test it when I'd only trimmed a little bit off, and there was the black paint went everywhere. Little studio lamp there for when I'm doing photographs and stuff. I've got two of these. One's on the other side, which I'll see in a minute. And then tucked away down the back, jar full of... They're just cheap janky brushes. Whether I'll ever need them or not, I don't know. I just had them, so I stuck them in a jar. And in the corner, a little helping hand holder thing down there. A little helping hand with a magnifier glass. Turntable, which is the one that came supplied with my spray booth, which I'll come on to in a minute. And then the shelf of paintness. So on the top, I've got all my Tamiya paints. I've accumulated quite a few. And some AK Interactives, and a couple of Model Airs at the back. And then I've got a few Humbrolls and things like that, which, to be honest, I won't ever use. But they're there. Things you buy when you first start and you realise you're not going to use them. And then down below that, I've just started acquiring some Mr. Hobbies. I've got the full set of RLM colours from Mr. Hobby. Along with a few others, copper and red and blue and stuff. Really like Mr. Hobby and Tamiya, to be fair. They're both really good paints. I feel I'm getting on with them well. And then I've got some weathering stuff, some washes, a full set of washes. And then some AK Interactive weathering stuff. I've got the Crusted Rust set, all three, light, medium and dark. And then I've got the Africa Core wash, streaking grime, and the filter as well. And I've got some Humbrol wash in there as well. In the back there, I've got a couple of little tubs which have got some leftover pigment in, but I don't have any pigments, so I scraped some off these pastels. They work okay for what I need for now. I will get some proper pigments at some point, but they'll do the job for the minute. Down in the corner there, I've just got some cheap artists acrylics which I bought many years ago. They've been sat in a cupboard. Whether they're any good for modelling, I don't know, but they're just sat there. I guess what I thought about maybe using them for is if I ever do start doing dioramas, for maybe colouring plaster or something like that, mixing with plaster to give it some colour. I don't know, it might work, I don't know, but they're there. And then I've got a full set of just Daler and Rowney, fairly cheap oils, or no, not Daler and Rowney, they're Artist Loft oils actually. They seem to do the job, they work okay. A couple of packets of uneaten Haribo's, courtesy of Hannah at UMP when she sends out all my lovely Ultimate Modelling Products goodies. Alclad Clear Coat Matte and Alclad Aqua Gloss. Now, I've used the clear coat a couple of times and I haven't had any problems with it, but I have heard people say that it can take yonks and yonks and yonks to go off to cure, so it can stay tacky. So I'm kind of avoiding that now, and I've been using the Tamiya XF86 and the X22 as a gloss coat. Although I do have a bottle of original Johnson's Clear, none of your future stuff, original clear, which I've used a couple of times, but now that'll just be sitting there for posterity. Maybe dip in the odd canopy. I've dipped a couple of canopies, seems to work. But yeah, and then down the bottom, a couple of mixing pallets. We could do with a clean. And then, Tamiya's spray stand, look. My spray booth, which is your generic eBay E420 25 watt jobby. This is okay actually, it's done me well so far. The only thing I'm finding now is it's quite restrictive, it's quite small. I'm building a Revell 1/32 scale Spitfire at the minute, and with the wingtips and everything assembled, it only just fits in here. So it's not really big enough. I need something a little bit larger, but I'm on the case. In there, as you can just see some bits that I was priming last night. If the camera will focus, some bits from a Messerschmitt. Ooh. Where am I going? There. Bits from a Messerschmitt 410 that I'm building, so I've got all the cockpit components all laid out. Sprayed with Ultimate Modelling Products primer, of course, because it's awesome. A little brush there for cleaning my airbrushes out. And yeah, so that's that. It's, like I said, a decent little thing for the money. I think it cost about £50, something like that. And it works really well, but I just need something a bit more substantial and a bit bigger for when I migrate to the cave. So let's move over to the back here. I picked up this funky little shelf unit from IKEA. The white thing, the white shelf, obviously. It's actually a cupboard organiser. They're about £3. They do a smaller version of this as well. Yeah, £3 does the job perfectly. It's great. It's helping me to organise this space a little bit better. So along the top, I've got a spare bottle of UMP airbrush cleaner, which is awesome. Some Badger airbrush lube, which you can get from Ultimate Modelling Products as well. Some Liquin, which I haven't used yet. That's for speeding up oil paints from drying time, which I picked up recently. I haven't tried it. Micro Scale Industries products, obviously Solset Mask and Crystal Clear. Lighter and a candle there for stretching sprue, and that bottle at the back's got a bit of washing up liquid in. Tub of sprue goo, which has settled out a bit. It's gone, oh, look at the screen, Graham, it's gone all blue in the bottom. But yeah, that's getting used a lot on my Revell Spitfire at the minute. And then some assorted stuff down the bottom. Some Humbrol thinners and stuff at the back, some Vallejo plastic putty and some mixing pots, Masters brush cleaner, Tamiya X20 thinner, and then regular sort of stuff at the front, Mr. Lebanon thinner, some odorless turpentine or odorless thinners for oil paints, some more Ultimate primers, and some Bob Smith. I've just got this actually, it works really well, I've tried it a couple of times. Bob Smith Industries brushable gap filling CA glue. Comes with a brush applicator inside. Goes on really well. I like it a lot. And then moving down, I got my brushes. Got my scruffy weathering brushes here, which are just all the old and battered ones that I obviously use for weathering. And then my, I say best brushes. They're nothing expensive. These are what they call them, Art Master, I think. Yeah. Art Master ones, and these bigger ones are just Dale and Rowney, I think, from Hobbycraft. They do the job. I'm only learning. I'm not doing all that much brush painting at the minute. I will upgrade to Winsor & Newton's at some point. But yeah, they do the job for now. Airbrush thinner from UMP again. Jar for washing my brushes. Cotton buds and toothpicks. Just a little tub for chucking bits of scrap in, spare scrap sprue and stuff. Spare cutting mat with the lovely Models for Heroes logo on. Please check out Models for Heroes, help if you can, it's awesome. And then I've got, let's look over the back, some pipettes. These are water pens. They've got a brush in the end, fill them with water for when you're doing watercolour art, but I'm going to fill them with these babies. Microsalt and Microset will go in there to save me spilling them. I just haven't got around to actually putting them in yet, but they're really good. You can pick them up from Amazon, eBay, all over the shop. Water pens you're after. And then my pot of lovely UMP sanders. I love these. I mean, to be fair, I've got nothing to compare them to. I was using nail files before, for goodness sake, but these are awesome. All the grades. Thinny sticks are fantastic for getting into all the little tight places. Really versatile.
just, yeah, a great range, and I haven't found anything that I can't do with that range of sanders yet. They're absolutely fantastic. They really are good. What have we got here? I keep saying a lot. Shall I try not to say quite so much? And I've got my tweezers. I've got a set of these assorted size tweezers. UMP photo etch pickup pencils, soft wax pencils for picking up little bits of photo etch. Pair of scissors, Tamiya rescribing tool, a little pea cutter one, which is good. Pencils and some sort of other reverse tweezers and that kind of thing. My original set of snips, sprue cutters, which I was using, these are quite old. Again, I picked these up as part of a job lot. They've worked really well, but I wanted something a little bit more precise. So I've recently picked up these Tamiya 74123s, I think they are. They're not cheap. These cost me about £30 in the UK, but they are fantastic, like chalk and cheese between the two of those. This one I'll still use for cutting like big sort of thick sections of sprue if I need to, and then the other one is just used for actually taking the more delicate parts off. But yeah, very, very good. Just a bottle with some water in there for decaling and stuff. Airbrush thinner, super glue, because I'm doing some photo etch at the minute. I'm just using Common Garden Loctite at the minute. I should really get something better, I guess. Tamiya extra thin, obviously, with a bit of plasticine on the bottom so I don't spill it. My in-use bottle of airbrush cleaner, which should be over there. And then I've got a little tub here which has got some work in progress photo etch in it. Down there, wheel mask and a T-square straight edge if I need it. Current work in progress on my cutting mat is some photo etch for my Eduard BF110. So I've got recently just acquired these, the Tamiya modelling knife, which I absolutely love. It's really good. Lots of people recommended this knife to me, and I couldn't really ignore them. So yeah, I took the plunge and I'm so glad I did. It works so well. It's so precise and easy to use. Lots of confidence with that. I really, really like it. I do also have Swan Morton, which is very good. That's what I've been using up to now. It's very good. Swan Morton number 3. I've got a number 10 blade on there at the minute, and that works really well. It's got its uses, but my new go-to knife for almost everything now is this Tamiya. I absolutely love it. Another pair of tweezers and some cocktail sticks. Tamiya bending pliers, photo etch bending pliers. These are great, really good, really quite precise, and yeah, great for bending photo etch, which is what they're intended for. And then I've got this, is it Small Tool Shop, I think they're called, little cutting plate. So this is an acrylic base, and then you've got a little perspex sort of debris, which the idea is that you line that up along the edge of the fret, and you can just snip it off neatly. And you can also use this for bending as well, so you can sort of hold the part down and just bend the bit that you need to bend with your craft knife or with a single edge razor blade. Just bend it up, and yeah, that works really, really well. So yeah, just about got me covered there for photo etch for now. I'm just doing my first attempt at photo etch. This is my first ever photo etch, and it's interesting. It's definitely tricky, but I'm enjoying it. It's all good. Oh right, last of all really, I've got my my little set of drawers here, which I bought from IKEA years and years ago when I was trying to build a model railway, and they've been sat in the loft, but they're now coming in very, very handy. So on top of there I've got the box for me Tamiya pliers, which obviously I've just opened, straight edge, some various electrician's tape, some Aizu 2mm masking tape, which I haven't tried yet, and then some Tamiya masking tapes, which I use over here, and some just cheap household masking tape for assorted stuff. This is a bottle opener. I know there's that you can buy a Mr. Hobby one, but I saw this in Tesco in the sort of get this for £1 or get this essential thing, and it was literally £1. It cost me £1. I've used it a couple of times for little paint pots on the Tamiyas and the Mr. Hobbies when the lid's been stuck on, and it works a treat. So yeah, that was a good £1 well spent. Pencil sharpener blade. Now then, in my drawers, what have I got? I've got In this drawer, some assorted tools, some pliers, a little knife, and most of my airbrush accessories, my sort of spanners and cleaning stuff for my airbrushes, should I say. Middle drawer I have spare tweezers and pin vise bits. Pin vise is in one of the pots to my right, which I didn't show you, but it's a pin vise. And then in this drawer, it's full of knives, spare blades, jeweler's files, all that kind of stuff. All tucked away in there. Middle drawer, there's all my clamps. So I've got my clamps, pegs, white tack, some little tiny pegs that I picked up from Hobbycraft. Whether I'll ever use them I don't know, but I thought they might come in handy for small parts. And then in the bottom is a sort of miscellaneous drawer, sort of spare pencils, plasticine, sponges for weathering. So these are some makeup sponges, kitchen sponge for various textures. Then I've got some rigging. It's not Easy Line, it's the Ushi standard size rigging. I've got some brass wire. I've got some monofilament, some Dymo tape for rescribing and re-riveting. I'm waiting for my riveting tool to arrive, and some fuse wire for doing like sort of cockpit wiring and that kind of stuff, and then a few just assorted bits and bobs. And then and then I've got my Logitech C920 webcam, which I use for some of my videos and also for the Google Hangouts with the crowd from International Scale Modeler. Shameless plug. Dun, dun, dun. And that is attached to my Shesto modelling light. This is an awesome bit of kit. I absolutely love it. Not cheap, again, not cheap at all, but so many people recommended them. I couldn't say no, really. I needed a light, and this thing is just fantastic. It's almost shadowless, gives great even light across the subject. Just a great bit of kit. Very movable, very versatile, just love it. It's a Shesto light, branded Lightcraft. You can get them from a company in the UK called CPC Farnell. If not, just Google Shesto Lightcraft. You should find it. That's Shesto. They're awesome. Really, really blooming good. And then I've got my blue Snowball mic here, which is my studio mic. Obviously, I'm not using that at the minute. I'm just on the camcorder with a pop filter and a boom stand. Laptop down here for editing videos and using for the Google Hangouts. And then another studio light over there. So that is my workbench. That is where I'm living at the minute. Like I said, just until my shed comes, which, like I say, should be, it's the 5th of July now, and I was told middle to the end of July, so it's been built to order. Oh, I nearly forgot my stash, my meagre stash. It's not an immense stash at the minute. I've got 2 models in progress. I'm building the Revell 132nd scale Spitfire and the 148 Edward BF 110, the Profi pack. They're work in progress. And this is the ones that I'm waiting to build. So the Meng Leopard, which I've just done a review on my channel, which I won from International Scale Modeler. Skoda Fabia Bell kits. I really want to build that, but it's quite scary. I've never built a car, so it's a bit daunting. I'll get around to it one day. Trumpeter Vampire 148. That's got a ton of photo etch in it, which is why I've held off a little bit, because I haven't done any photo etch until I started doing this Edward kit, so I've held off doing that because there's just so much photo etch inside it. And then I've just picked up this as well. I got this for a bargain. I wanted to do a 262. I know there are better kits than this out there for the 262, but I really do like the Night Fighter, and it was at a great price as well, so I couldn't resist it. At the top, this is where it all started. I bought this original starter kit to build with my lad. Never got around to building it. I got the bug. I've opened it, tried doing it. Nah, it's too small. Can't be doing with that. And this one here, interesting. I bought this on a whim about 15-20 years ago. Walked through a shop, saw it, picked it up and bought it. Got it home, started building it. Gave up after a few hours. The cockpit was assembled, and I believe it's in a box in my garage somewhere. Separate to the rest of the kit. So when I go around to clear my garage in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to have a look and see if I can find it, and I'm just curious to see if I can complete that kit. I probably won't, but the sentiment's nice, isn't it? So then I've got my Mr. Hobby paint colour chart on the top. These two box files here, originally I like keeping boxes for things, and I was going to keep the boxes for all my model kits, but the ones I've built so far have been pretty mainstream, to be honest, so there's not really any value in keeping the boxes. So what I've decided to do, I'll keep all the instruction books for all my models. They're all in there, and I've got loads of spare decals and that kind of stuff in there as well. And then in this box I've put all my leftover sprues. A lot of them are still on the sprue, some of the parts I've trimmed off, but yeah, that's full of excess sprue with lots of bits on it. Should I ever need them, if I ever venture into scratch building or whatever, or find that I need a part, I might just get lucky and get one out of there. So that's it, that's me. Nothing else to show really. I've got another little cupboard down here which has got a few bits and bobs in. Just some cardboard for mixing oil paints and some assorted aerosols and that kind of thing, some rattle cans and stuff that I'll probably never use, but they're there, wet palette at the back. Yeah, so that's it. That's my cave. That's my modelling cave in its entirety. So I hope that's giving you a little peep behind the curtain. Like I said, this is more as a memory for me, so I can look back in 6 months, a year's time when I'm all settled in and think, that's where I worked. That's where it all started. So there you go. That's it. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to check out International Scale Modeller. Don't forget to check out Ultimate Modelling Products. I don't work for UMP. I just love the products. Good, honest family company. Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for UMP, and I really love the products that I'm using so far. Also check out Models for Heroes. Incidentally, International Scale Modeller just ran a charity auction in aid of Models for Heroes last Friday night. So it's the 5th of July now. So that was the 30th, I believe, 30th of June. And raised just over almost 2,250 quid to go and help service personnel with PTSD and other similar issues. Yeah, great cause, great charity, run by Malcolm. Drop email addresses there if you want to get in touch. If you want to donate any kits or any tools, or you can help out in any way, get in touch with Malcolm. He's a great guy, really nice fella, and I'm sure he'll be happy to hear from you. And he's doing a fantastic job in setting that charity up. So that's it. All that remains for me to say is check me out on Facebook at Black73Cat Scale Models, and on Instagram at Black73Cat_models. And I'll come back and speak to you again with another video very soon, although I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. It's a mystery. I'll keep you in suspense. Cheers guys, happy modelling. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.